Sup, y'all? I'm back. This video is going out there a little later than I initially intended, but it was kind of a busy week, what with work, and I'm Catholic, so Ash Wednesday was a thing. Actually, I was gonna film this video on Wednesday after I got back from Mass, so I would have had my little silly little ash mark on my forehead, which would have been really funny for a video. It's hilarious. Catholics are stupid. And then there was Valentine's Day on Thursday, so obviously I was out, doing stuff because it's fucking Valentine's Day, and you do fun stuff on Valentine's Day. Hope you all enjoyed Valentine's Day for one reason or another, but I'm here now, and I've got a couple of topics I wanted to talk about. Namely, one thing that broke this week, and quite honestly, when I heard about it, it pissed me the fuck off. Wrestling has been dropped from the Olympics. That infuriated me when I read that. I was like, that is the most ridiculous thing I've heard in a while. That is absurd. And and I know not all professional wrestling fans or sports entertainment fans are necessarily fans of amateur or collegiate wrestling, but I am. Actually, I remember when I first got into the Olympics, I first started watching it. The first sport I watched was wrestling, and both guys got their noses busted open during the match, and I thought, wow, this is the coolest thing ever. And I really feel bad for the young athletes that aspire to be Olympians, because for wrestlers, the Olympics is the pinnacle of your athletic career as a wrestler. I mean, that's the pinnacle, that's the best, and that's what everybody strives to be. If you're in, if you wrestle in high school or college, I mean, that's what you strive for, is to make the Olympics. And to take that away from them, I think is wrong, especially when you consider, and I don't like to sit there and say, it's like, oh, well, wrestling's gone, and that sport sucks, that doesn't belong in there. But I know golf is going to be one of the sports going in its place. And my dad, who was a huge fan of golf, when we talked about this, he said that that's bullshit that golf is going into the Olympics, which kind of shocked me. I'm like, but you're a fan of golf. Why shouldn't that be in the Olympics? And I was like, and he basically said what I said. Wrestling, for wrestlers, the Olympics is the pinnacle. That's the best. And in a lot of ways, wrestling to me is kind of the definitive sport of the Olympics. It goes back to ancient times and is one of the original sports of the Olympics. And he said, for wrestling, the Olympics is the pinnacle. And that's what all Olympic sports should be. It should be, that's the best that you can be. If your sport is in the Olympics, that's the pinnacle, that's the best that you could possibly be. And my dad, who's a massive golf fan, said, for many golfers, the Olympics will not be that. There are bigger tournaments out there, there are bigger events for golfers, and a lot of the pro golfers, the Tiger Woods and Phil Mickelsons and all those other guys that are, would probably take part in this. To them, it's just going to be another thing. Like, it's just another day at the office for them, I guess. They're not going to look at it as this ultimate achievement, or this, I keep using the word pinnacle, but like the pinnacle of their careers, like wrestlers do when they make the Olympics. And I think it's absolutely ridiculous to drop wrestling. I remember watching Kurt Angle win the gold medal and thinking, it's like, wow, that was awesome. That was really, really cool. And I think to take that away is going to be a huge, huge detriment to the sport. Because, these young athletes that, they get into a sport because they want to, set goals and aspire to achieve greatness. And if the ultimate greatness that they can achieve, which would be the Olympics, is taken away from them, well, then what's the point? What's the point in putting that kind of time and energy into, learning and perfecting the art of amateur wrestling, the sport of amateur wrestling? And, and it's really going to hurt the talent pool for mixed martial arts and professional wrestling, because, where do a lot of those guys come from? Guys like Bob Backlund, guys like, I think Bret Hart had an amateur background, guys like Brock Lesnar, Kurt Angle, who's obviously the best example. That's going to be a well of talent for professional wrestling, even, the sports entertainment world. It's going to hurt them in the future, and MMA, obviously that's some potential talent robbed from them too. So it's just a negative all around, and I think it's complete bullshit. Complete and utter bullshit. That wrestling's been dropped from the Olympics. So, whatever petition you have to sign, or, go on Twitter, hashtag save Olympic wrestling. Whatever you have to do, show your outrage over this, because this is ridiculous. Beyond ridiculous that this is happening. But, I just wanted to put my 2 cents out there on that, because, that fucking sucks. Getting into more of the world of what I normally talk about, sports entertainment, professional wrestling. I did want to talk about the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view. Not that I'm actually not going to order it because, lockdown's coming up, WrestleMania's coming up. Got a few other things coming up as well, so I'm kind of like, I can skip this one and not necessarily, feel too bad about it because of all the stuff that is coming up following it. But I did want to talk about the gimmick of the show itself, and talk about the matches a little bit. We're getting Cena Punk 2, or Cena, god damn it, Rock Punk 2, and I think we all expect Rock to win. The only other outcome I can see is that with the stipulation of Rock losing the title if he gets DQ'd, which was really stupid the way they added that in Raw this week. And I actually enjoyed Raw this week, but that was just weird the way that came about and was set up. But the only different scenario I can see playing out is if, reports are true that Undertaker is too injured to work WrestleMania, which I doubt heavily. Then it'll probably be Cena, Punk, and Rock in a 3-way, and that stipulation would be their way to kind of work that in there. Because, I would much rather have that than getting Cena, Rock 2 and Punk versus Undertaker, because I don't want Punk to just be fed to Undertaker just to enhance the streak. I was like, come on, don't you have something better for Punk than that? So if that's what they're going to do, this triple threat, then I would be okay with that. That would actually be an interesting main event. Although I think they're going to want to stick to singles matches, so I'm counting on Rock winning that one. Alberto Del Rio versus Big Show. I think it's really strange that they did a last man standing match twice, and now we're getting a regular match. I think that's really kind of odd. Odd decision making there. But whatever. I think Del Rio's going to win because I just think they're going to keep running with him. I don't see the point in having Big Show win it at this point. Although the WrestleMania World Title match is really bizarre because I honestly could not tell you what the plan is or even if they have a plan. It just feels like kind of a random mishmash of shit. It's like I can't really. I'm looking at the situation. I can't figure out what the direction is, and it's been that way for a while now. It's really weird. Who's gonna win the Elimination Chamber match? I don't know. I do like that the Chamber match is not a title match. I do like that because one of my problems with the February pay-per-view, and then ever since they started doing 2 Elimination Chamber matches, one of my problems with it is that it's like, okay, you got the Royal Rumble, which has 30 guys in it, and only one guy can win a title shot at WrestleMania. And then a few weeks later, you're having 10 of those guys who were probably in the Rumble, at least 9 of them, getting a title shot before the Rumble guy does, the Rumble winner does. And I always thought that was kind of weird, because I think, like I said, I always believe it's better if title shots are harder to get. And to me, the system should be, oh, you didn't win the Rumble? Well, better luck next year. And that should be the setup. But they have 2 world titles, and that's kind of what we're stuck with at the moment. So at least this is a contenders match. So the Chamber match is the first step to get into WrestleMania, to get the title match. And I do think that is more effective than just, it's like, oh, hey, we have 5 spots to fill, so here's your title match that you kind of don't really deserve, but we have spots to fill, so there you go. So at least, the Chamber match is being used to set up a contender, which I think is a better way to use that match. Who's in this match? I keep forgetting. It's Daniel Bryan and Kane, and obviously neither of them are going to win it because they're going to be... if they're not going to wrestle each other at WrestleMania, they're going to be defending the tag titles at WrestleMania to set up the split. So We can rule them out. I think Jericho is going to work with Ziggler at Mania, so Jericho's not going to win it. I don't see Swagger winning it. They've been giving him a lot of squash matches lately, which is interesting upon his return, but I think that's just them setting him up as a legit, as a possible contender for this match. I don't think he's really going to win, though. Although I do applaud them for that, is that they did do a pretty decent job of setting these guys up as legit, title contenders. They gave Mark Henry a lot of squash matches. They gave even Swagger some squash matches. Orton's been kept looking strong. Jericho, is fucking Jericho, I guess. He did beat Bryan on Raw this week, so they have done a fairly decent job of actually making these guys look like they belong in a match to set up a world title contender for WrestleMania, which they don't always do. So I do like that aspect of it, but really the only ones I can see winning it are either Mark Henry or Randy Orton. But again, I have no idea what the WrestleMania title match plan is, so it could be... Hell if I know. It could be anybody. I'm fairly certain that Ziggler's going to cash in his Money in the Bank at WrestleMania. So, that's my prediction on that. So I don't see anything with Ziggler kind of finagling his way into either the Chamber or cashing in the title at Elimination Chamber. Although I guess he could. Again, I have no idea what the plan is. We could see. I don't know. They might have Jericho win the Chamber. Ziggler cashes in Money in the Bank at Elimination Chamber, and you get Jericho and Ziggler for the title of Mania. I don't know. I have no idea what their plan is. There's a multitude of things they could do, but I'm going to pick Randy Orton to win, just because setting up Orton versus Del Rio, which would be a really weird match to have. But yeah, it's weird. What are some of the other matches on here? We got Miz versus Cesaro. Tamina versus Caitlyn for the Divas title. Nobody really cares. One match I do really like, and I do want to... This is where I wanted to talk about the Elimination Chamber gimmick. The Shield versus John Cena, Sheamus, and Ryback. I think this is a great match to have. I think it feels like it's a big payoff to something that's been months in the making. And I think it's a great attraction because the Shield has only wrestled one match, and that was a pay-per-view match. So this actually does feel special. Normally when they do tag matches on Raw and try to sell it as like this major blockbuster main event, I laugh because it's like, look, we see that almost every week. It's like, that's not an attraction. But this one is, and I think this one is a legit, like, really interesting match. And I really don't know who's going to win. Are the faces going to finally get their revenge on the Shield? Or are they going to keep the Shield looking strong and have them go over? I don't know. It's interesting either way. Where I'll fault it, this should have been an Elimination Chamber match. And a few people... had this idea of like, it's 6 guys. You can fit that into a chamber. They could do a War Game style Elimination Chamber match. And honestly, I would have given this the Elimination Chamber over the World Title match. I think that would have been a better way to do something different with the Elimination Chamber and really make it interesting and do kind of, like I said, like a War Game style match. I think it would have been really cool. And instead of alternating, guys in, through the man advantage or whatever, keep the random draw. So you could potentially do something where the Shield end up going in 3-on-1 on somebody. And I don't know. I feel like they could have done a lot of really interesting things with it being an Elimination Chamber match. And it really would have fit this storyline and this feud and really would have helped establish the Elimination Chamber as like this ultimate, battleground to settle a rivalry, which it's never really been. It's always been kind of either a way to cram people on the show or to have a multi-man title match or something like that. It's never really been like that ultimate, not like Hell in a Cell or Steel Cage used to be. But yeah, I really do feel like they kind of dropped the ball by not making this one an Elimination Chamber match. I think that would have been a nice change to the gimmick. That would have really been interesting. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. I was even thinking it when they set it up with all 6 guys. I was like, they could make that an Elimination Chamber match, especially since the Shield has been either beating them up or running away when they try to get the advantage. So the Chamber, again, makes it perfect for that. Violent, and the Shield can't get away. So... I don't know why they didn't do that. I don't know. And it's not just me saying that. I've seen that comment posted a lot. And especially since this pay-per-view, we do expect 2 Elimination Chamber matches, that should have been one of them, or just the one. I respect reducing the number of gimmicks, and if they only want to have 1 Elimination Chamber match, I think that's cool, but this should have been the one that got it. I think that would have been a really, a really awesome match, but... Oh, well, I mean, it's still, even as a regular tag match, it's still a really interesting attraction for the show. I just wish they'd spiced it up with the gimmick a little bit, because I do think the gimmick would have been warranted here. And, there are reports that Lockdown is changing their format as well by only having 2 cage matches instead of the usual, full card is nothing but cage matches. And I have a lot to say about that, if that's the direction they go in. So if it is decided that Lockdown's only going to have 2 cage matches, I am going to make a video about that, because I do have a lot to say about that. And, yeah, but that's pretty much all I got. Not a very good video, I gotta say. This is not one of my better ones. It's not very interesting. Just, I'm just feel like I'm babbling, but don't I always? But yeah, that's all I have for now. Again, I hope you all enjoyed your Valentine's Day, and hope you all have a good week. And I'm gonna have some more videos for you in the near future. Showcasing the Immortals Part 2 is coming soon. It'll probably be out sometime next week, so be on the lookout for that. And until then, for those of you watching Elimination Chamber, hope you enjoy that, and I will see you all later.